Down with this sort of thing. Careful now.
What is up everybody and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be going through my team selection ahead of Game Week 31. Game Week 30 turned out to be a great week after yet another deadline stream which saw me take out Maddison and Tony for a hit in order to bring in Haaland and Grealish. Game Week 30 was certainly my lucky week as Maddison blanked and Tony missed a penalty and had a goal disallowed whilst Haaland scored 2 goals and Grealish got a goal and an assist. These moves ended up gaining me 14 points and saw me finish Game Week 30 just inside the top 100k for the first time since Game Week 21. If you do find this video helpful then please do drop a like, subscribe to the channel and also let me know down in the comments below what your plans are ahead of Game Week 31. And without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with my goalkeeper for Game Week 31, we have Raya who faces off against Wolves away from home. The goalkeeper decision for this week was certainly not an easy one, with both Chelsea and Brentford having pretty equal clean sheet odds. However, it is Brentford who have the better odds of keeping a clean sheet in Game Week 31, with a 29% chance of doing so compared to Chelsea's 27% chance of keeping out Brighton at Stamford Bridge. The vulnerability of Kepa as Chelsea's number 1 is another reason as to why I've gone with Raya. As I discussed in last week's team selection video, Kepa was very much pushed to the side in Lampard's first spell as Chelsea manager, so I'm very wary of the same thing happening this time around. Chelsea's Champions League lineup against Real Madrid may give us some insight into who will be Chelsea's number 1 for the remainder of the season. Moving on to the back line for this week, we line up with the same back 3 from Game Week 30 with Chilwell, Botman and Trippier all starting together. It would be fair to say that Game Week 30 was an absolute disaster for my defence. My 3 defenders returned with a combined 3 points for the week. One of the biggest worries however was that Chilwell started on the bench for Chelsea in their away fixture against Wolves. This was something that I really didn't expect to happen and resulted in him returning with 0 points after coming on off the bench. However, one of the small positives I could take away from this was that Chilwell was still heavily involved in Chelsea's attack when he came on. As I said last week, an attacking return from Chilwell is just around the corner. Whilst it was disappointing to see Newcastle concede against Brentford, I'm still happy to start both Botman and Trippier as Newcastle are still second for big chances and non-penalty XG conceded post-restart. With Newcastle playing Aston Villa this week, it may be another unfortunate clean sheet wipeout due to the form Ollie Watkins is currently in. Whilst the data for Newcastle's defence is strong, I'd really like for this data to translate into some defensive returns sooner rather than later. The midfield for this week sees March, Mitoma, Grealish and Bruno all start after a mixed Game Week 30. Whilst the decision to go with Grealish in Game Week 30 paid off massively, it was the only real success in my midfield this week, as Rashford only managed to get an assist before being taken off due to injury. Bruno also blanked for the 3rd game in a row in what is proving to be one of the poorest transfers I've made all season. I should have probably appreciated how deep Bruno was going to play due to Casemiro's suspension, however I decided to ignore it and instead bring him in. With Rashford being out injured for the next few weeks, I'm hoping that Bruno can be given a greater attacking role and finally get a return against an out of form Nottingham Forest. I also ended up on the wrong side of the decision between starting March or Mitoma in Game Week 30, as March returned whilst Mitoma blanked. The decision to start Mitoma or March was purely a decision based off the form of the two players, but unfortunately it didn't work out as I had hoped. I'm slightly concerned that Grealish may have his minutes reduced against Leicester after having played 90 minutes in the Champions League. However, with City looking to chase down Arsenal, I'm hoping that Pep can start the same team that brought them so much success these past few games, and that Grealish can continue the fine form he is currently in. Lastly, the attack for Game Week 31 sees Watkins, Tony and Kane all line up after a successful performance from all 3 in Game Week 30. Erling Haaland yet again proved why he's the best striker in the world as he returned with a 12-point haul which included a world-class bicycle kick. Haaland was also unlucky to not get a hat-trick as he was subbed off just minutes before Man City were awarded a penalty. The decision to bring in Haaland in Game Week 30 and to captain him was a great one. Watkins also managed to get a goal in the 94th minute against Forest. That goal brings Watkins up to 5 returns in 5 games, which just further reinforces the form he's currently in. Unfortunately, Watkins did take off his shirt after his goal, so he did lose out on an extra point. Watkins was once a great differential option, but it now feels like every manager owns him, so his points do little for my rank. Harry Kane made it 5 goals in 4 games as he yet again found the back of the net against Brighton. Every week I see people suggesting that Kane could be sold in order to spread funds elsewhere. However, I just don't think it's worth it. Kane is one of the most consistent assets in FPL and is almost guaranteed to return each week. I'll be keeping Kane for the foreseeable future whilst hoping others sell him. On the bench for Game Week 31 we have Kepa, Estepinha, Rashford and Shaw. My bench pretty much picks itself this week as Estepinha faces Chelsea whilst Rashford and Shaw are both out injured for this week. However, given Chelsea's form currently, an argument could be made to start Estepinha in the hopes that Chelsea yet again fail to score. This week will probably see me roll the transfer or move Rashford out and bring in Elise in order to attack Palace's upcoming fixtures. Having created 6 chances and returning with 3 assists in Game Week 30, Elise seems to be finding some good form under his new manager. Palace's next 4 fixtures are all against teams lower than them in the league, so now may be a great time to own him. A lot of managers will move Rashford out for Grealish this week, so I could get one step ahead of them yet again with Elise. That's going to do it for this week's team selection video. If you did find the video helpful, then please do drop it a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what your plans are ahead of Game Week 31. Also make sure to follow me on Twitter at fplfatherted and tune into the deadline stream on Saturday morning. Thanks for watching and good luck this game week.